Well, honestly, Vlad, with a lot of uncertainty because we don't know what they're going to look like. We've heard lots of rumors and innuendo about how much it could be, what products they could be on. We're certainly anticipating it could be on things like dairy here in Canada, which in Canada is essentially a monopoly. You have to get permission from the government to have dairy cows, to have chickens, to have eggs. And that's one of the things that President Donald Trump has been upset about and says that it's an unfair trade practice. So I think there's a couple of things like that we're in particular bracing for. There's questions about what this could look like for the auto sector, for the rest of our agriculture sector, and for Canadian manufacturing. But at this point, we really don't have a sense of how significant those tariffs might be, and therefore how hard Canada might be hit. So the government has a number of plans that they have not unveiled for various circumstances that they're ready to retaliate with. We do know they're planning retaliatory tariffs if Canada is hit, and we're fully expecting that to happen. But what exactly that plan will look like, or what cards they're prepared to play, for example, like cutting off energy or putting an export tax on it going to the United States, still remains to be seen.
So, as you know, the Prime Minister has slammed President Trump for his insistence that Canada become the 51st state. How is that rhetoric shaping that relationship? And more importantly, I guess, Mercedes, explain to our audience here in the United States how that is leading to a surge. I always felt Canadians were proud of their heritage and proud of their country, but I'm seeing now in my Instagram and in my social media, people proudly displaying the flag, proudly displaying the fact that they're not carrying American products in their stores or buying American goods as a way to signify their patriotism.
I've never seen this much sort of overt Canadian patriotism. It's atypical for Canada. The only times we've sort of seen it is around, for example, Afghanistan, when we were losing a lot of soldiers, and people would line the Highway of Heroes, which is where the soldiers were returned home to their families. But Canada's not a country that has sort of the overt patriotism that the United States does. It's much more subdued, it's much more quiet. Well, it has gone fully overt, in-your-face, angry. Canadians feel attacked. They feel that this was a great relationship, our closest friend and ally. We all have American friends and family. A lot of my family lives south of the border. So there was a lot of shock and feelings of betrayal. You can find lists now of how to avoid American products in Canada. The government here is trying to remove internal trade barriers between provinces so that trade can go more east-west instead of north-south. So all of those things have flared, perhaps to the good of the country in some ways. Now, when it comes to the relationship between the president and the prime minister, it has improved. But the reason for that is because we have a new prime minister who's currently running, hoping to be elected by the Canadian people. He was sworn in a couple of weeks ago. His name is Mark Carney. And